Welcome to Spark 2023. We recently celebrated our 20th anniversary, 20 years of making and transforming the lives of our community. We are so thrilled to have you here with us. We wouldn't be here without your support. We wouldn't be able to keep trans people alive, thriving, and fighting for liberation without the people all over the country who are committed to our mission.
Amber McLaughlin, Jasmine Mack, K.C. Johnson, Manuel Tortuguita Turan, Unique Banks, Amani Tiwataho Zache, Maria Jose Rivera, Cache Henderson, Tisaya Woodland, Tommy Playboy, Ashley Burton, Rashida Williams, Banco Brown, Asia Davis, Chanel Perez Ortiz, Jacob Williamson, Camden Ryder, Devani Jure Johnson.
At Transgender Law Center, we have taken on some of the most difficult cases on behalf of transgender people, and we have won.
In 2012, we won a landmark decision establishing for the first time that transgender people are protected by federal sex discrimination laws.
In 2017, we established legal precedent by protecting Ash Whitaker and countless other transgender youth. And for Ash, that meant safety in schools and the right to use the correct bathroom.
In 2020, we helped free our client, Chin Su, from a detention center where he was held in solitary confinement for 19 months.
This past year, we secured a historic victory on behalf of Naya, a Black transgender woman living in the South who had been charged with second-degree murder. We know that criminalization of self-defense is a common experience for Black and brown trans women and femmes. And unfortunately, we also know that trans women and femmes experience human trafficking at a disproportionate rate. For Naya, her case represented both issues. She was fighting back against the person who was forcing her and coercing her to engage in sex work. We were finally able to meet with the district attorney and share all of this information with him, explain what Naya had been through, explain her victimization, help him understand what human trafficking is. All of Naya's charges were dismissed and expunged from her record. Since Naya's case, we have released a brand new resource that focuses on screening LGBTQ people for human trafficking victimization.
Our legal team's expertise has transformed the lives of trans people all over the country and shifted inequity within our legal system. Authorities targeting trans people just for being authentically ourselves has led to fierce resistance. The very events that launched the LGBTQ movement in the first place, like the Stonewall riots and the Compton cafeteria riots, were because trans people decided to fight back.
We've been making the future, and our programmatic work is proof of that. From our Disability Project's historic survey of disabled trans people, to our campaign educating the public on the limits of hate crime legislation, to the ongoing leadership development led by trans people living with HIV within our program, Positively Trans. For over 10 years, our Gender Justice Leadership Programs, in partnership with GSA Network, has trusted trans youth to lead. Our media and storytelling organizing is building public understanding and empathy. And we are so proud of our latest program, Roses, which is led by and for trans girls of color. The girls are taking the roses for themselves, creating safety, affirming each other, and finding love. Trans youth are reworking the ways that they see themselves and the ways that the world sees our people. We hold the power to change the law and our society from the root. Are you with us?
Are you with us?
Are you with us?
My name is Milo Engelhardt. I'm a staff attorney at the Transgender Law Center in our litigation division. The Texas state government recently passed Senate Bill 14, which is a law that would ban care for young trans people, and it would revoke the medical licenses of providers who are just trying to comply with the best standards of care and serve young trans people in their state. In our conversations with our clients, we've heard so many stories about how life-changing being able to access care can be, how it's supported their children in being happy, healthy, successful young people. This bill is putting them in impossible positions where they have to decide if they are going to flee the state and leave behind their home, their friends, their family, to go somewhere where their child can access healthcare, or to risk what would happen if their child can't access this life-saving care. And that's for the families that have the resources to leave the state. We've seen such a surge in just anti-trans bills and anti-trans bigotry all across the country. Conservative politicians may see young trans people as easy political targets, but I don't think they realize that young trans people are powerful and trans community is powerful, and we're gonna show up and we're gonna fight these laws.
In 2022, in response to the major anti-trans attacks happening in state legislatures, the Transgender Law Center pulled together transgender leaders and organizations from across the country.
National organizations, grassroots organizations, state organizations, to really say, what do we need as trans leaders to meet this moment to keep all trans people alive and thriving?
And that's how we got to Building Trans Power. Building Trans Power at its core is putting trans people in position to be leaders and investing in their leadership to do what we know because it's our lived experience.
The positions of power aren't just centered in DC. The positions of power are in state capitals across the country, where we are seeing these bills be tested, be experimented, to then be brought to the federal level. We cannot wait until something gets to the halls of Congress. We need to be supporting trans organizers and trans people who are doing this work on the ground.
The data shows that the concentration of the extreme disparities like trans murders and poverty and the grueling anti-trans legislation and, the lack of gun regulation are concentrated in the South. There is tons of people who are trying to make amazing impact with a little bit of rubbing two pennies together. And so it's really, really important for us to focus our resources, money, and actually create survival mechanism for us.
Whether that's access to jobs, access to housing, access to safe and affirming healthcare.
Because they shouldn't have to leave the South or the Midwest just because of the attacks that are happening. This is their home too. We need to also look at what are the wraparound services for folks in states where they haven't passed these bans and where access was already still stretched thin. And we can only do that by empowering our community to do the work.
Black, Indigenous, people of color, trans people, disabled people, people living with HIV, poor people, people living in rural areas, those impacted by criminalization or immigration systems. We see that when we defer to their leadership, we start to create laws and policies that are by the very communities most impacted by those issues.
The people who are closest to the pain should be closest to the power.
Building trans power is a plan of action. Here's some of what we're going to do. Action 1, boost the political power of trans communities in the South and Midwest by holding lawmakers accountable for attacking their trans constituents. Action 2, build cybersecurity and anti-violence response strategies so we can rely on each other to keep us safe instead of relying on police or the government. Action 3, convene and train trans leaders on innovative messaging research to counter harmful narratives.
They want us to go back into the closet. They want us to go back in a time when we were fearful and scared and didn't have the confidence to be ourselves and be proud of who we are, be proud of our transness.
Through building trans power, we're saying we're here, we're not going anywhere, and we're going to support each other until all of us are free and can live a life that we deserve and that we want.
We know how to do this. We hold each other close. We build the networks that we need to be able to survive. And we eventually win.
Text your gift to support TLC right now by sending a text to 41444. In the message, enter 21 TLC space your donation amount space and your name and hit send. Be sure to click the link in the reply to complete your donation. Or if you prefer, you can email us at giving@transgenderlawcenter.org. All you have to do to support trans liberation is text that number with the dollar amount you'd like to give to support our work to change law, policy, and attitudes for trans people. Thank you for being here. We are so excited to spend the evening with you.
Congratulations to the Transgender Law Center for another year of life-affirming work. Happy Spark.
Thank you so much for being here with us tonight. As you know, it's unprecedented times for our communities across the country, and I'm so grateful that during this moment of leadership transition from Chris Hayashi to myself, that I'm here to celebrate with all of you and keep trans people alive, thriving, and fighting for liberation. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight.